В своей агрессивной антироссийской политике Запад перешел всякую грань. Мы постоянно слышим угрозы в адрес нашей страны, нашего народа. Некоторые безответственные политики на Западе не только говорят о планах по организации поставок в Украине дальнобойных наступательных вооружений, систем, которые позволят наносить удары по Крыму, другим регионам России. Такие террористические удары, в том числе с использованием западного оружия, уже наносятся по приграничным населенным пунктам Белгородской и Курской областей. В ход пошел и ядерный шантаж. Речь идет не только о поощряемых Западом обстрелах Запорожской атомной электростанции, что грозит атомной катастрофой, но и о высказываниях некоторых высокопоставленных представителей ведущих государств НАТО о возможности и допустимости применения против России оружия массового поражения, ядерного оружия. Тем, кто позволяет себе такие заявления в отношении России, хочу напомнить, что наша страна также располагает различными средствами поражения, а по отдельным компонентам и более современными, чем у стран НАТО. И при угрозе территориальной целостности нашей страны для защиты России и нашего народа мы, безусловно, используем все имеющиеся в нашем распоряжении средства. Это не блеф. А те, кто пытаются шантажировать нас ядерным оружием, должны знать, что роза ветров может развернуться и в их сторону.
This is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth with breaking news. Putin has warned the West over nuclear weapons, saying, quote, "I'm not bluffing." In a national address on Wednesday, President Vladimir Putin says Russia will be mobilizing further troops for the war in Ukraine. He claims the West is using the threat of nuclear weapons to blackmail Russia, and that those who try to blackmail us with nuclear weapons should know that the weather vane can turn and point towards them. And he's not the only one. In fact, his guru and mentor has said that nuclear apocalypse is likely if Russia faces Ukraine defeat. Vladimir Putin's ally and mentor, Alexander Dugin, has said that a nuclear apocalypse is a likely outcome if Russia is facing the prospect of losing the war in Ukraine. And now we have the Serbian president chiming in, saying he's warning of a great world conflict that will be coming within the next 2 months. The president of Serbia has warned that the planet is entering into a great world conflict that could take place within the next 2 months. He says, "You see a crisis in every part of the world. I think realistic predictions ought to be even darker. I assume that we're leaving the phase of the special military operation and approaching a major armed conflict. And now the question becomes, where is the line? And whether, after a certain time, maybe a month or two even, we will enter into a great world conflict not seen since the Second World War," he said. So this obviously has a lot of people asking the question, victory or nuclear war? Putin backs himself further into a Ukrainian corner. Well, is he really backing himself into a corner, ladies and gentlemen? Or is this the case of a dog being pushed back into a corner, and when you do that, everybody knows what happens. The dog is going to bite back. So we're going to look at all of this and much, much more in this video, guys. But just before we do, I want to tell you about my friends at Patriot Gold Group, because I know you know that you can feel it coming down the pike just like I can. I mean, right now, Russia, China, India, they're all moving away from the dollar right now. They're totally walking away from it. And speaking of Putin, just last summer, he announced that they are working on a reserve currency, a new reserve currency that would literally rival the dollar. He may be working with Brazil, India, China, and even Saudi Arabia. And it's possible that this new reserve currency, which is going to rival the dollar, will be backed by gold. And I know that the very smart viewers of Press for Truth here are very well aware of gold and silver being a hedge against inflation, especially in times of war like this. This is why I wanted to tell you about my friends at Patriot Gold Group, guys. When you call the number right here on the screen, 1-888 270-8670. Here you'll get connected to a free consultant, a free guide who will set you up with an investing kit. These guys specialize in IRAs and 401ks that are backed by precious metals like silver and gold. It's absolutely awesome. And even if you already have an existing IRA, they'll roll it over for you, and you might actually be eligible for a no-fee-for-life IRA moving forward, guys. So be sure to check it out. Again, when you call this number, you get connected directly to a real person, not an automated system. But this is somebody who's going to, again, set you up with a plan moving forward. This is a great hedge against inflation, a fantastic hedge against the dollar, as we have seen is in serious perils right now. Precious metals you can stock up on, guys. This is a top-notch company, #1 rated IRA dealer by Consumer Affairs, 5 years in a row, guys. Once again, Patriot Gold. I strongly encourage you to check it out. Call the number right here, 1-888-270-8670. And if you don't want to talk to a real live person, again, it's free to do so. If you call within these business hours, you will get a hold of somebody. But if you don't want to talk to a real person, you can also just fill out this form here. And again, they will get back to you with your free investor kit. You can even talk to somebody who's going to set you up, help you get set up with a plan. Again, it costs you nothing. Call the number on the screen, guys, or check the links in the description below to my friends at Patriot Gold Group. All right, guys. I can't start this video without explaining a little bit of the history behind the so-called aggression of Russia in Ukraine. I mean, I put this video out earlier this year. This one's called The Truth About Russian Aggression in Ukraine. The federal liberal government has just announced that they are strengthening more sanctions against individual Russians due to Russia's so-called aggression towards Ukraine. But who's the true aggressor here? In this video, Dan Dix of Press for Truth goes behind the headlines, delving into the history of Ukraine and Russia's relationships with NATO and the US and their allies to reveal a situation that looks nothing like what the MSM is presenting. Turn off your TVs, stop being conditioned for war, and support real independent media like Press for Truth. Guys, if you have not seen this video, I strongly encourage you to check it out. Links will be located in the description below. But just in case you weren't aware, I wanted to point to you to a short little expose I found years ago from the BBC. This is before Zelensky was selected as president. And in case you didn't know, guys, this man was a professional actor who was playing the role on a popular television show in Ukraine as the president of Ukraine. And then all of a sudden, the actor announces he's actually going to run for president in real life. And everybody was like, is this a joke? Are we serious? This guy? This is all being completely forgotten about. So I just wanted to point you to this little compilation thrown together a few years ago, again, before he was selected as the leader of Ukraine. And just get a load of where this man is coming from. And I think you may better have a better understanding of what we're actually dealing with here today. Check this out.
Здрасте.
Василий Петрович Голобородько?
Да.
Доброе утро, господин президент.
Привет, как дела? Серьезный день, ребята. Как настроение? Класс? Це не фейк, і я дуже серйозно відношусь до нашої країни, до життя кожної людини.
И вот здесь, понимаешь, теперь, они заставляют детей в будки ваши, строить. Знаешь, почему у нас жизнь собачья? Да потому что мы свой выбор с тобой начинаем в будках. Понятно? А выбирать-то не из кого. Из двух пи***расов выбираем меньше. И так 25 лет подряд. Ты знаешь, что это есть?
Да, при решении этого вопроса будет учитываться специфика.
Уважаемые журналисты, я прошу прощения, я не готов к этой пресс-конференции.
А совместить физкультуру, спорт, если хотите, изучение украинского мовы.
первая причина. Конечно же, они хотели бы видеть в президентах такого человека, как Василий Голобородько, с такими, самое главное, моральными ценностями. А второе, конечно же, это ответ всему политическому истеблишменту. Люди хотят что-то новое.
А я тут ни при чем. Перестаньте. Мы же все понимаем, что это твой человек.
Нет, я был уверен, что Голобородько – это твой человек.
Ясно. Если не твой и не мой, значит, это человек Рустема Ашотовича. Господа, клянусь, я не имею к Голобородько никакого...
Много всего нового научиться. Посмотреть, как дышит собака.
Я обіцяю вам піти в президенти України. І одразу виконую. Я іду в президенти України. Давайте зробимо це разом. З Новим роком.
Для того, щоб Україна була об'єднана, щоб Україна була захищена, щоб безпека України не ставилася під питання. Прийшли до висновку, що цілісність України и єдність...
Я никакая не игрушка в руках Коломойской. Не был бы игрушкой, честно говоря, в руках ни одного из этих людей.
If you're a man of principles,
Yes.
why are you working for a man who the anti-corruption authorities say has stolen all this money from the people of this country?
Все каналы у нас принадлежат олигархам. Все крупные предприятия принадлежат этим группам. Получается, что мы все люди в Украине, 40 миллионов людей без принципов, мы все работаем на этих предприятиях. Или теперь весь юмор будет про меня? Да?
Про вас.
Какие вы сволочи.
So as you can see, I mean, you can't make this stuff up. They transitioned from television, fake world to reality, and people have completely bought it. Hook, line, and sinker. I mean, this is just unbelievable. But let's get back into how this has escalated to the point now of Putin saying that he is, potentially going to use nuclear weapons, and this is not a bluff. As I said, we even have his own mentor, and apparently his guru saying that a nuclear apocalypse is the likely outcome. So again, this is asking this question: victory or nuclear war, and is this all a bluff? Russian President Vladimir Putin's renewed nuclear threats have raised fears that his plans for escalation in Ukraine may not be limited to mobilizing more troops. While he has issued apocalyptic threats against the West before, Putin's thinly veiled warnings in rare national address on Wednesday signaled that he was willing to raise the risk of nuclear conflict to avoid an embarrassing military defeat. The Russian leader accused the United States and its allies of nuclear blackmail, and said without elaborating that high-ranking officials from NATO states had made statements about the possibility of using nuclear weapons of mass destruction against Russia. Then he delivered a notable reminder: if the territorial integrity of our country is threatened, we will certainly use all the means at our disposal to protect Russia and our people, Putin said in apparent reference to Moscow's sizable nuclear arsenal. This is not a bluff, he added. Again, very, very serious words coming from the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin. And again, this is now causing the Serbian president to warn that great conflict could be coming within the next 2 months, guys. So let's take a look at this. President of Serbia has warned the planet is entering into a great world conflict that could take place within 2 months. Alexander Vucic made the alarming comments during the first day of the UN General Assembly session in New York. He says, "You see a crisis in every part of the world," he told the Serbian state broadcaster RTS. "I think realistic predictions ought to be even darker," he added. "Our position is even worse, since the UN has been weakened and the great powers have taken over and practically destroyed the UN order over the past several decades." The Serbian leader cautioned that the war between Russia and Ukraine had moved on to a far deadlier phase. "I assume that we're leaving the phase of special military operation and approaching a major armed conflict. And now the question becomes, where is the line? And whether after a certain time, maybe a month or two even, that we will enter into a great world conflict not seen since the Second World War, he said. And there's video of him saying this. I'll include links to all of this in the description below. His remarks were made on the same day that Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered an immediate partial mobilization of troops amounting to 300,000 soldiers. In a public address to the nation, Putin warned that he wasn't bluffing and that he was prepared to use all the means at our disposal to protect Moscow's territorial integrity. Now they, the West, are talking about nuclear blackmail, said Putin. The Zaporizhia nuclear power plant was shelled, and also some high positions, representatives of NATO states, who are saying there might be possibility and permissibility to use nuclear weapons against Russia, he added. Putin ominously asserted that Western powers should be reminded that our country also has various weapons of destruction, and with regard to certain components, they're even more modern than the NATO ones. As we highlighted last month, a study conducted by Rutgers University found that nuclear war between the United States and Russia would cause 2/3 of the planet to starve to death within 2 years, ladies and gentlemen. 5 billion people would perish, primarily as a result of nuclear detonations causing huge infernos that inject soot into the atmosphere, which blocks out the sun and devastates crops. One wonders how a generation that thinks that words are violence and misgendering someone is stochastic terrorism, how are they going to react to an intercontinental nuclear war? The mind truly boggles. And indeed it does, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how they are going to handle it, but I know how we need to handle this moving forward, guys. If you are not already at the point of getting to being completely self-sustainable, whether that means you're not relying on the government, or that means that you're not relying on any kind of a banking or financial institution, or that you're not even relying on the grocery stores for that matter, if that is the case, then you are far better off than most. And if that is not the case, ladies and gentlemen, well, the time is now to start working towards this fully self-sustainable lifestyle. Because as I said, he's not bluffing. He already announced the introduction of this new upcoming global reserve currency that would rival the dollar. What we are seeing now is the controlled destruction, not only of the global economy, but we're going to see these the drums of war continue to ramp things up here, especially in Russia, in Ukraine. And as we said, the Serbian president is now warning this great conflict could come within the next couple of months, guys. This is why I wanted to bring all of this to your attention. Again, this is also why I did want to tell you about my friends at Patriot Gold Group, because I know you know, moving forward, this is going to be a fantastic way to hedge yourself against the coming calamity. Guys, get your money out of the banks. Get your dollars out of these financial institutions. Get it into gold and silver. And because historically, this has been a fantastic hedge against what we know is coming down the pike. So once again, don't forget to check my friends out at Patriot Gold Group, guys. I wouldn't be telling you about them if I didn't do my due diligence, and I know that these guys are solid people to work with. So please check out the links in the description below. And that's all for today, guys. I just wanted to bring all this to your attention because it's crunch time. It's beyond crunch time. Things are really ramping up here on the global stage, and unless you're thinking and preparing 2 steps ahead, you're going to be completely caught off guard. I hope that's not the case. If you've been paying attention to this channel for some time, hopefully you are already prepared for what we know is coming. So if you do appreciate my efforts to bring you this info, don't forget to share this video. Click that thumbs up button if you do appreciate my efforts to bring you this info. Don't forget to check me out at pressfortruth.ca/donate, and also where you can check out my friends at Patriot Gold Group. All the links are located in the description below. That's all for today, my friends. Stay tuned. We're going to have more video reports coming very soon. This is Dan Dix reporting for Press for Truth. We all want truth. The truth will set you free.